Welcome to Bryer's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. And it's been a little bit, but it's time to finally continue my series where I go through every year of the 1970s and name my top 5 albums. Of course, this is all just my opinion, and I'm only restricted to what I have in my personal collection. So, 78 is a very strong year in music. It was actually kind of tough picking my top 5, and even my honorable mentions were kind of tough as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy it regardless. Of course, in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on my picks, but also let me know your favorite albums from 1978. It's always kind of fun looking at those comments because every once in a while someone will include an album that I have not heard before, and I'll be like, I better keep tabs on that. But regardless, if you've been enjoying this series, please give the video a like, subscribe if you are new. It's crazy because we only have this episode and next episode left, so the series is almost done. So again, hopefully you've been enjoying this. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Kicking us off at number 5. Here is a very, very influential debut, especially in the hard rock and even metal scene. We have the debut album of Van Halen. I mean, like I just said, for guitar players moving forward, many people would imitate Eddie Van Halen. His guitar playing is just so groundbreaking. I mean, his tapping and hammer-ons are just legendary. Even though he didn't invent the technique, he definitely popularized it and made a mainstream the technique that you see many people do. Many people try to emulate Van Halen's technique. So, of course, you have the whole band. You have David Lee Roth on vocals, and of course, he's shrieking up a storm like he always does. Yeah, very cool. Then you have Alex Van Halen, the brother, Eddie's brother, and very underrated drummer, I think. Like, he definitely keeps the rhythm and definitely has some great moments as well. And of course, last but certainly not least, you have Michael Anthony on bass, and of course, providing his legendary backing vocals, which adds the whole sound. So, yeah, track listing wise, it starts out with Running with the Devil. Pretty good set piece, I think. Then he goes right into Eruption, the legendary guitar solo. Just absolutely spectacular. And then it just flows right into You Really Got Me, the Kinks cover, which of course is very iconic in its own right. Great riffing. And then you have probably my favorite Van Halen song, and that of course is Ain't Talking About Love. Just love everything about that song. Just a good catchy song. I'm the One, another very good one. Jamie's Crying, Atomic Punk, Feel Your Love Tonight, kind of an underrated track, I think. Little Dreamer is also pretty underrated, I think, as well. Ice Cream Man, and then you have On Fire. Like, top to bottom, there's just no weak spot, I think. It's just a really spectacular rock album. Of course, produced by Ted Templeman. Templeman. I said it right. I say things right all the time. But anyhow, sadly, I don't have... Actually, none of my top 5 I have a vinyl copy, so sadly there's no vinyl cam, so we're just going to stick with this cam in this episode. So let's quickly go over the packaging, of course, the CD itself. So there's David doing his acrobatics, as he always did back in the day. Of course, I always grew up with Van Halen. My mom was a fan. I believe she saw them live back in the day. So there's the disc, nice little golden color. Not much to say on the booklet though. You open it up, just gives you the basic info and some photos. Okay, all looking pretty sweaty. The album cover is pretty much, it's pretty good too. Like, Van Halen don't have the best album covers, but this one's probably definitely one of their better ones. Just shows off the band. All right, so there you have it. That is number 5. Now we move on to my number 4. Now here is another very influential debut. So we have the debut album of The Cars. So like I said, it's pretty influential in its own right, being it kind of predates a lot of new wave, which again will be very prominent in the 80s. So again, you have, of course you have Rick Ocasek, Benjamin Orr. Let me read off the other guys. David Robinson on drums, Elliot Easton on lead guitar. Then you have Greg Hawkes on keyboards and saxophone, other percussion. So yes, so this is basically their greatest hits album, because there's so many iconic songs by them on this album. I mean, it starts out with Good Times Roll. I mean, just a perfect opening track. Just a good, the guitar sound is so unique, and the keyboards really add that texture that really sets them apart. Excuse me. And then it goes to My Best Friend's Girl, another very well-known song by them. Again, a lot of catchy choruses. They're kind of gated vocal harmony, which of course was done by Roy Thomas Baker, who produced pretty much all the Queen's albums in the 70s. So you definitely hear that sort of sound. But anyhow, next track is Just What I Needed. Probably my favorite Cars song. Probably. They have a ton of great songs. But yeah, just so good. Just the intro is so nice. And of course the chorus is also very catchy as well. Then you have I'm in Touch with Your World, probably my least favorite song on the album, but still not too bad. Don't Just Stop. I can see people finding that song annoying because it does get repetitive a little bit, but you know, it's a fun song, nothing wrong with that. Then you have probably my other favorite song on the album, probably my second favorite, honestly, and that is You're All I've Got Tonight. It's just another pretty underrated song. I don't hear people talk about that song very often, but I think it's very good. Then you have Bye Bye Love, and then it goes into the great closing, which is Moving in Stereo, and then that blends into All Mixed Up. Just a great closing track, especially on All Mixed Up, where it closes out with the saxophone, like a perfect ending. So yeah, of course you have the album cover, kind of, you know, of its time. Well, not of its time, but it's kind of not much to say about it. It's just a picture of a girl. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess she's riding a car? It's hard to tell. But anyhow, and here's the back again, in case I didn't show it already. Alright, so now let's go over the packaging. There's the disc, of course. Pretty standard disc. Now this time we do have a pretty nice booklet. Then here, this one has pictures of the band. And of course it does give you the lyrics, which is nice. There's the back. Alright, so there you have it. That is my number 4. Next up, for my number 3, here is definitely one of my favorite artists of all time, my favorite female singer of all time, and this is her debut. Lots of debuts in this list for some reason. But number 3 is The Kick Inside by Kate Bush. Again, kind of don't like this cover. This is the US North American cover. The UK is far superior, but regardless, still a really nice album. Of course, I mean, I'm going to be biased, of course, because I love Kate Bush so much, so of course she's going to be on this list. But yeah, so at this point she's she's kind of in the musically she's kind of the time, you know. By this point, art rock, progressive rock was still kind of there by this point, so it's very proggy, but mostly a lot of art rock involved into this. Maybe a little bit of Baroque as well. But yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, she does a phenomenal job here. Her voice is pretty much what you expect to hear from Kate Bush. Like, again, all the different textures she does. She goes high, she can come down when she needs to. Like, all these like different voices she puts on is, again, it has always really appealed to me. Can you tell it's morning? That's why I'm kind of all over the place. But regardless, so it starts out with Moving. Great opening track, just pretty much sets the stage on what you're expecting on this album. Just her vocals is just so beautiful, so angelic, I would say. Then you have the saxophone song, which is a great follow-up song. Strange Phenomenon, just again, really playing with her higher register. Yes, beautiful as well. Then you have Kite, which is one of the weird songs on the album, because it kind of has a very unique cadence, different rhythm. I can't really describe it. You're gonna have to listen to it yourself. But great song. Then you have a ballad, "The Man with the Child in His Eyes," which I believe she wrote when she was about 15 or so. Just another beautiful song. Again, very mature lyrics and very artistic, I'd say. Then you have the big hit on here, which is "Wuthering Heights," which of course was based on the novella of the same name. Again, it basically put her on the map. It went #1 in the UK, I believe. Just again, that song pretty much sums up Kate Bush. Again, that high register and then this very unique sound to it. And of course, it has that great guitar solo at the very end. And I should probably mention, this was actually produced co-produced by David Gilmour of Pink Floyd. So that's kind of nice. Excuse me. James and the Cold Gun, kind of a more rocking song. Definitely has a bit more of a thump to it. Then you have Feel It, "Oh to Be in Love," another one of my favorite songs on here. Them Heavy People, another very, very cool song. And yeah, very strong debut. Again, I think this is probably my third favorite Kate Bush album. There's two more that are over this one, but they're in the 80s, which I talked about before in my past 80s series. So it would feel weird not to have Kate Bush on here. So yep, that's why she's on here. So let's quickly go over the packaging. So pretty standard disc here. Not much to say about it. Then same with the booklet. It does give you the lyrics though, which is nice. But other than that, not really all that much to say. Then there's the back. Of course, let me see. Does it give you anything else? No, it just gives you the credits. Yeah. Alright, so that is #3. For my #2, I talked about this band in the previous episode. I can't remember where they placed, but I know it was pretty high. So, #2 is going to be Pieces of 8 by Styx. So, yep, Styx. I mean, I talked about them already, but great follow-up to The Grand Illusion. It's really this album or The Grand Illusion. They kind of flip-flop. It really depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes this is my favorite Styx album. Sometimes the other album is my #1. But yeah, this is still a very strong album. Very good stuff on here. What do we got here? I mean, it starts out with Great White Hope, which is a James Young song, which is a very good opening track. Then you have I'm Okay by Tommy Shaw. And that is a very good song. Probably another very underrated song by Tommy. Love the guitar riff on it. Then you have another Tommy Shaw afterward, which is Sing for the Day. Another fantastic song. Another one of Tommy's great vocal moments. You have the Message, which is kind of a 1-minute instrumental. Lord of the Rings, James Young song, very cool. Blue Collar Man. Again, love it. Actually, no. Did I say Tommy Shaw did I'm Okay? It was Dennis DeYoung. My bad. Like I said, it's morning. So that's why I'm a little bit off. But yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was on Blue Collar Man. Yeah, that's one of Tommy's most well-known songs. And then you have Queen of Spades, which is Dennis's song, and yeah, that's probably one of their greatest deep cuts, I think. Just Dennis's vocals on it is probably his most rocking vocals here. Very nice. Then you have Renegade, probably Tommy's biggest song, and that's a great rock song, great riff. Yeah, it's amazing. And then you have Pieces of 8, the title track by Dennis, and yeah, that's another really good, more ballady type of song, which they were pretty good at. Then you have Aku Aku, which is another kind of instrumental song to kind of take us out. But yeah, top to bottom, another really great album by them. Definitely had to be on here. So yeah, let's go ahead, look at the packaging. Cover wise, it's interesting. I like the back cover a bit more, I think. I think this was the gatefold, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I've seen it. I've seen the vinyl. I don't have it, but I've seen it. But yeah, but disc wise, again, pretty standard. You open it up. You have the full image. So this is what the vinyl was. Then I believe this was the gatefold. And then on the other side, again, it's nothing to write home about. Just gives you the basic info. Not much to say. So that is number 2 for my list. But of course, like always, before we get to number 1, let's showcase some honorable mentions.
Wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
Alright, for number 1, you knew this band was going to be on here. It's Queen, and we have jazz. Probably one of Queen's most underappreciated albums, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to be a little bit, again, I'm biased, because, again, I love Queen. Of course, they're going to be pretty high. I was pretty reserved on a couple episodes, but this one, like, no, they're number 1. But yeah, this was definitely one of those albums that definitely was kind of mixed upon release. And I think it's still kind of mixed to some people. But I think it's a fantastic album and so many not only great hits, but also some fantastic deep cuts. So you have Mustafa, which is a Freddie song, which of course is very unique. It kind of takes a lot of influence by Middle Eastern sort of language, which is kind of interesting. But it's still a fun song. Then you have Fat Bottom Girls, which of course is another one of their classic songs. I mean, yeah, you know, lyrically it's very naughty, but you know, what's wrong with that? You have Jealousy, which is a very, very nice, very kind of slower song, but yeah, very, very good song. Then you have Bicycle Race, another one of their big hits. Just riding a bike. What? It's just like, why? Of course I know why, because I know they were recording near the area where the Tour de France was taking place, and of course Freddie saw all the bikes, and he's like, why not write a song about that? So there you have it. It's still a fun song though. Then you have If You Can't Beat Them, which is a John Deacon song, and that is another very underrated song. Then you have Let Me Entertain You, great rock song. Dead on Time, another very heavy song on this album. Then you have In Only 7 Days, which is a beautiful deep cut, another one of John's best in my opinions. Just a great kind of ballady type of song that John Deacon was known for, and yeah, it's a lovely song. Dreamer's Ball by Brian May, kind of more trying to go back to like a Elvis sort of sound. Very cool. Fun It by Roger, solid song. It's not one of my favorites, but you know, it's solid. Leaving Home Ain't Easy, another Brian song, very nice song. I enjoy that one, and Brian sings it good. Then of course you have one of their biggest hits and probably one of the most endearing classics, and that of course is Don't Stop Me Now. Yeah, it's just a good upbeat, very basically a party song basically, but it's a good one at that. Yeah, it's what has not been said about that one. Personally, I think that should have been the closing track, but the actual closing track, more of that jazz, which is by Roger, it's solid, but you know, I think Don't Stop Me Now would have been a better fitting closer. But there you have it. That's jazz. It's not very jazzy, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, let's go over the packaging. The cover wise, it's not one of their better ones, but you know, I kind of like the swirl, and then you have jazz kind of coming out the center. I'm going to cough. There we go. You open it up. The disc looks pretty cool though. I like the design they went with. And this one folds out. And here they replicate the gatefold. Just a nice studio shot of them in different locations. Very nice. Now, the original gatefold, excuse me, didn't have all these pictures though, but you know, it is what it is. All right, there it does. It even has the a little miniature version of the poster that came with. I'm not going to show it because it's probably going to get this channel taken down. But if you know, you know. But anyhow, let me just go ahead. Here is the side here. Another nice photo of the band in the center here, and then you have all the lyrics all in here. Let's just put this away. All right, so there you have it. That is my number one for 1978. So like I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed this video, please give this a like. Subscribe if you are new. Comment below your thoughts on my picks, but also let me know your favorite albums of 1978. I look forward to reading those. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. So take care and goodbye for now.